I bet you know about this natural remedy that fights cancer and diabetes, as well as having many other benefits. But do you know how to use it in the best way to get all these benefits from IT? So come on to this deep dive because that's what we're going to discover today.
All right, everyone, get ready because today we are going deep, deep into the world of cloves.
Cloves.
Yep, cloves. You know, that spice you probably have sitting in your pantry right now?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
I bet you don't realize just how powerful this spice can be when it comes to your health.
Really? Like, what can it do?
Well, we're going to find out today. We're going to be looking at this video by Dr. Eric Berg, DC, and the title is, get this, what would happen if you chewed one clove daily?
Wow, just one clove a day, huh?
That's what he says. And in this video, he talks about all sorts of things cloves can help with, from pain and inflammation to fighting infections.
I'm interested to hear more about this.
Me too. So first things first, cloves contain this natural chemical called eugenol, and this eugenol is like a natural painkiller.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Dr. Boog compares it to lidocaine, you know what dentists use to numb your mouth?
Right, right.
He says eugenol works similarly, but without all the potential side effects.
That makes sense. Natural remedies often have fewer side effects.
Exactly. And the pain relief isn't just masking the pain either. Cloves can actually help with the root cause of a lot of pain, which is inflammation.
I see. So they can help with things like arthritis.
Exactly. Dr. Berg says they could help with all sorts of inflammatory issues, even comparing them to over-the-counter painkillers like ibuprofen.
Wow, that's pretty powerful for a simple spice.
Right. And it doesn't stop there. Cloves also have antimicrobial power.
Antimicrobial.
Yep. Dr. Berg presents research that shows how cloves can fight bacteria, fungi, and viruses.
Wow, all that in one little clove.
I know, right? And there's more. It's not just about killing those pathogens, it's about how they do it.
Oh, how so?
Well, you see, bacteria can form these protective layers called biofilms. It's like their own little fortress.
Oh.
Cloves can break down those biofilms, allowing your immune system to actually get in there and do its job.
So it's like they're clearing the way for your body to heal itself.
Exactly. And on top of that, they can even starve those pathogens of energy so they can't multiply and spread.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like a multi-pronged attack on these infections.
And speaking of attacking things, Dr. Berg says cloves can help with blood sugar control too.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have guessed that.
I know, right? He even compares the effect to metformin, which is a common diabetes medication.
Wow, that's fascinating.
He says cloves can actually increase insulin sensitivity, which is so important for managing blood sugar levels.
This is really making me rethink my spice rack.
Right. And it gets even more interesting because Dr. Berg talks about research that suggests cloves could have cancer-fighting properties too.
Wait, hold on. Cloves and cancer, that's a big claim.
I know, and we definitely need more research to confirm all of this, especially human trials.
That's true. A lot of this is based on lab and animal studies.
Right, but what they've found so far is that cloves seem to inhibit cancer cell growth, working similarly to some chemotherapies.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on as the research develops.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not just cancer. Dr. Berg also mentions cloves helping with liver detoxification.
Detoxification.
Yep. And he says they can thin the blood too, kind of like aspirin, so it could help prevent blood clots and potentially reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes.
It seems like cloves are a real powerhouse when it comes to health.
They really do, and I'm curious what you think about all this.
I mean, it's pretty amazing to think that something so common could have so many potential benefits, but, you know, with claims like this, I'm sure there's some controversy.
Oh, absolutely, and Dr. Berg addresses that in his video too.
Oh, yeah.
He's very passionate about the power of natural remedies.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed about him. He's a big advocate for natural approaches.
He is, and he talks about how conventional medicine can be very resistant to natural remedies, focusing more on managing symptoms with drugs instead of tackling the root cause.
It's a complex issue for sure.
It is. Dr. Berg even gets a little frustrated with those disclaimers you see on natural remedy. You know, the ones that say they're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Right, I've seen those.
He feels like those disclaimers really stifle the conversation about the potential benefits of natural approaches to health.
I could see why he'd feel that way.
And it really makes you wonder, are we missing out on the power of nature by focusing so much on pharmaceuticals?
That's a really good question, and one that deserves more attention, I think.
I agree, and while we're not saying to ditch your medications and start chewing on cloves, It's definitely worth exploring all the options available to you.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, right? The more you know, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions about your health.
Exactly. So let's switch gears for a minute and talk about how to actually incorporate cloves into your daily life. Because Dr. Berg offers some practical advice in his video.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Well, he suggests chewing on a whole clove daily, which I know sounds a little intense.
Yeah, I can imagine that's not for everyone.
Definitely not. But he also talks about using clove oil topically for inflammation, which seems a little more approachable.
Yeah, that sounds more doable.
And he even suggests adding ground cloves to smoothies for flavor and to get those health benefits.
It's a good idea. I could see myself doing that.
Me too. And while Dr. Berg is a big proponent of natural remedies, he does acknowledge that there are times when conventional medicine is absolutely necessary.
Of course, it's about finding the right balance, right?
Exactly, finding what works best for you and your individual needs.
And it's about being informed so you can make those decisions confidently.
Now, going back to what we were discussing earlier about those impressive potential benefits of cloves, what stands out to you the most? What really grabbed your attention?
That's a tough one. There's so much to consider. But I think what really struck me was the potential impact on blood sugar control. It's pretty amazing to think that a simple spice could have an effect on a complex condition like diabetes.
I totally agree. It really makes you wonder what other natural remedies might be out there that we've overlooked or dismissed.
Right, like what other hidden gems are just waiting to be rediscovered?
And Dr. Berg seems to believe there are quite a few. He's pretty critical of what he calls the conventional approach to medicine, arguing that it often focuses on suppressing symptoms with pharmaceuticals rather than getting to the root of the problem.
Yeah, he definitely has strong opinions on that. And it's interesting because he's not coming from a place of ignorance about conventional medicine. He's a doctor himself, but he's chosen to focus on a more holistic approach to health and wellness.
Exactly. And he brings up some valid points, like remember those disclaimers we talked about?
Hmm.
The ones that say natural remedies aren't intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Right, those always feel a little suspicious.
I know. And he thinks those kinds of disclaimers really prevent us from having open conversations about natural approaches to health.
I can see how he would feel that way, yeah. Like it's almost taboo to even consider natural remedies as legitimate options.
Exactly. It feels like we've been conditioned to believe that only pharmaceuticals hold the power to heal, but maybe nature has just as much potential, if not more.
It's a thought-provoking idea for sure.
It is. Now, obviously, we aren't saying everyone should abandon their medications and just start chewing cloves.
Of course not.
It's about staying open-minded and informed and being proactive about your well-being.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power when it comes to our health.
Exactly. So if something as simple as cloves can have such a profound impact, what other natural wonders are waiting to be discovered?
It's an intriguing question, isn't it? And it makes me want to take a closer look at my spice rack and see what else might be hiding in there.
Me too. Maybe the next big breakthrough in health and wellness is right under our noses. Literally.
Well, that's a thought to ponder.
It is. And just think, all of this started with the simple question. What happens if you chew one clove daily?
It goes to show that you never know where curiosity might lead you.
It really does. It's like a whole new world of possibilities has opened up for me.
And for me too. And the best part is that exploring these possibilities can be as simple as stepping into your kitchen. You don't need fancy equipment or expensive supplements, just a willingness to experiment and see what works for you.
You're so right. So to wrap things up, if you're looking for a natural way to support your health, cloves might be worth adding to your daily routine.
Whether you're brave enough to chew on a whole clove, prefer to use clove oil topically, or want to sprinkle some ground cloves into your meals, there are so many ways to incorporate this powerful spice into your life.
And remember, knowledge is power. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep taking charge of your health.
Until next time, happy experimenting. It really does make you think, huh?
It does. And Dr. Berg even goes into how conventional medicine can sometimes make it difficult to promote these natural remedies.
Oh, what does he say?
Well, he talks about how conventional medicine sort of claims ownership over diseases.
I see what you mean.
So if you start suggesting natural remedies for specific diseases, it can be seen as practicing medicine without a license, which would obviously be a big problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. There are definitely legal and ethical considerations there.
Right, and he seems to be pretty frustrated with this whole situation.
Yeah.
He even brings up that disclaimer you often see on natural remedies.
You mean the one that says it's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Exactly. And he doesn't hold back. He says that disclaimer is basically a way of saying, we don't want you to know about this.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement.
He is definitely passionate about this topic. But, it's interesting because he raises a good point about conventional medicine often focusing on managing symptoms with drugs rather than addressing the root cause of the problem.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, too, is like we're always trying to put a Band-Aid on the problem instead of actually fixing it.
Exactly. And he argues that this approach can actually make things worse in the long run because it doesn't address the underlying issues.
And it can also lead to a dependence on those drugs, right?
And that can create a whole other set of problems. So he encourages people to consider natural approaches to health and really take ownership of their well-being.
I think that's a really important message. It's about empowering yourself to make informed decisions about your health, not just blindly following what you're told.
I agree. And, thinking about all of this, it reminds me of something else Dr. Berg mentions about cloves.
Oh, what's that?
He says that cloves can actually starve pathogens of energy.
Starve them of energy. How does that work?
Well, he explains that pathogens need energy to survive and reproduce, just like any other living organism.
Right. That makes sense.
And cloves can interfere with their ability to produce that energy, essentially cutting off their supply line.
So it's like they're weakening the pathogens from the inside out.
Exactly. And that makes it much easier for your immune system to fight them off and prevent them from spreading.
That's a really fascinating way to approach fighting infections.
It is. And it's amazing to think that a simple spice like cloves can have such a powerful impact on our health.
It really is. And it makes you wonder what other natural wonders are hiding in our kitchens, just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely. Maybe we've been overlooking some incredible solutions to our health problems right under our noses.
It's definitely something to think about.
It is. So, what do you say we switch gears for a minute and talk about how to actually incorporate cloves into our daily lives? Because Dr. Berg gives some practical advice in his video.
Yeah, let's get practical. I'm curious to hear what he suggests.
Well, he has a few different ideas. First, he suggests chewing on a whole clove daily.
A whole clove? Wow, that seems pretty intense.
It does, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can handle that. But he also mentions using clove oil topically for inflammation.
Oh, that sounds more manageable.
Yeah, and he even talks about adding ground crows to smoothies.
That's a good idea. I could definitely see myself trying that.
Me too. It's a great way to get the flavor and the potential health benefits all in one.
Exactly. And, it's great that he offers these different options because not everyone is going to be comfortable chewing on a whole clove.
Right. It's about finding what works best for you and your individual needs.
Absolutely. And speaking of individual needs, while Dr. Berg is a big proponent of natural remedies, he does acknowledge that there are times when conventional medicine is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, he definitely makes that clear. It's not about rejecting conventional medicine altogether. It's about finding the right balance.
Exactly. And being informed so you can make the best decisions for your health.
I agree. So I'm curious, out of all the things we've talked about today, what stood out to you the most? What really sparked your interest?
That's a tough one. There's so much to consider, but I think what really resonated with me was the idea that cloves can help with liver detoxification.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's so important to support our liver health, especially in today's world with all the toxins we're exposed to.
Exactly. And I like that he suggests using a natural remedy like cloves for that, rather than relying on harsh chemicals or expensive supplements.
Me too. It's a gentle and effective way to support your body's natural detoxification processes.
And it ties into that whole idea of taking a more holistic approach to health, addressing the root cause rather than just masking the symptoms.
Right. It's about supporting your body's natural ability to heal and thrive.
Absolutely. And it's about being proactive and taking control of your own well-being.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's a great point. It's really about empowering yourself and taking responsibility for your own health.
Exactly. And, what's so cool about all this is that you don't need a medical degree to start incorporating these natural remedies into your life.
Right. It's not about becoming an expert overnight. It's about taking small steps and making gradual changes.
And it's about being curious. Like, we started this whole conversation wondering what would happen if you chewed one clove a day, and look where we ended up.
I know, right? It's amazing how something so simple can spark such a fascinating discussion and really open your eyes to new possibilities.
And it's not just about cloves, it's about looking at everything in our lives with a fresh perspective and questioning what we've always been told.
Absolutely. So for all of you listening out there, if you're intrigued by what you've heard today, I encourage you to do your own research and explore the world of natural remedies.
There's a wealth of information out there, and you might be surprised by what you discover. And who knows, maybe you'll find something that makes a real difference in your life, just like those cloves.
That's a great point to end on. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more you know, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions about your health.
And don't be afraid to think outside the box and consider all of your options, both conventional and natural.
Absolutely. It's about finding what works best for you and your unique needs.
Exactly. And sometimes the answers might be closer than you think, maybe even hiding in your spice rack.
Well said. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep taking charge of your health.
And remember, happy experimenting.